If you're a data analyst or a data scientist that's working with marketing teams, or perhaps you're a digital marketing data analyst, there's a very good chance that you are working with paid ads data and trying to understand paid ads and CPC performance. In this recording, I'm going to show you how you can explore that data very, very quickly to better understand which campaigns or which search terms you should double down on or perhaps exclude. So I'm going to be working with 100% synthetic data, as I generally do in these videos. So the data itself doesn't actually make a whole lot of sense. It was generated by ChatGPT, but it should give you the right building blocks and the right foundation here to do your own analysis. So if you're working with Google Ads, for example, go to Google Ads and go for the search terms to look at the performance, pick whatever date range you want, and export the data. And you should have something that looks very similar to this, where you have a list of search terms, you'll have the match type, the ad group, number of impressions, clicks, average CPC, cost, and so on and so forth. So I just exported that data. And again, I did this in ChatGPT, but I exported the data and re-uploaded it to a Fabi SmartBook. And now this data is stored as a Python data frame 1. So now we can start asking the AI on the right-hand side here to analyze this data for us. So say we want to, for example, understand how certain search terms are performing according to maybe 1 or 2 or 3 dimensions and see if there are any outliers. I can just go ahead and ask the AI to, let's just say, for example, plot number of impressions versus clicks by search term. So something like this on your data is going to help you understand, like, are there search terms that have a lot of impressions but very few clicks? Those are probably the ones you want to go and exclude. Or vice versa, some search terms that have a lot of clicks but very few impressions. Maybe there's a way for you to double down on those. And here you can see the AI went ahead and generated some Python code and plotted data. And I can see it's actually it's doing something here with the dot sizes. So let's understand what it's doing. Point sizes vary based on click-through rate, which is interesting, but I'm actually going to maybe ask it to change it to number of conversions. Change the dot size to number of conversions. And again, I'm just picking this, but you can see here how with the AI, there's a bunch of different ways you can explore the data, and it makes it really easy just to move quickly. So, and let's do a thing here. All right, great. This is looking a little bit better already. So let's go ahead and add this cell to the SmartBook. And here, again, all synthetic data, but if you had outliers, again, ads that maybe have a lot of clicks, but few impressions, then maybe there's a way for you to double down on those, and vice versa. There's maybe some ads that have a lot of impressions, but very few clicks. This might be a good example where our teen fashion trends 2025, getting a lot of impressions, very few clicks, and even has a low conversion rate. So maybe we just go and exclude that one. Of course, you can do more than just this. You can go ahead and, for example, if we want to study the number of impressions, actually, or maybe let's do like number of conversions by search term, and actually plot number of conversions by search term and color each bar by ad group. So in your data, something like this might show whether there's certain ad groups that are the top that perform better than every other ad group. This is all random, so it's probably not going to really show that. But I know that, for example, for our own data, for our paid ads, we certainly do have some ad groups that perform significantly better, and it's really helpful to understand what those are. So go ahead and add that. And again, yeah, so there's not really any like ad group here that's kind of like standing out as far as I could tell, but on your data, there very likely will be. Now, the other thing that I really love about using Fabi for this kind of use case is that the AI can also look at the data and provide some insights. So for example, back up here. So for example, if I go back to this data, actually, let me remove this and let me just tag data frame 1. I can ask the AI to help me understand like which search terms maybe we should double down on. So it can actually like respond. It can also do some like NLP on the search terms if you like categorize search terms by intent. But here, for example, I might say, actually just say using data frame 1, please tell me which search terms with more than 1,000 impressions we should consider excluding in the future. So now that the data is loaded up in our SmartBook, it should be able to do this no problem. It's actually pretty cool. Go ahead and create a chart for me so I can take a peek at that, but it's actually helping me understand like how it's thinking about this problem. So it's looking clearly at conversion rate and click-through rate. And of course, you may define performing well or not differently, so you can tell the AI that. But the really cool part is it will also just give me the summary, not just the code. It'll tell me like, okay, matching family pajamas, for example, tons of impressions, but like literally only one conversion. Also very high, well, that I guess translates to a very high cost per conversion and so on and so forth. So really nifty to like very quickly sift through hundreds of rows, especially if you're running a lot of campaigns, you probably have a lot of search terms, and it's probably very tedious today to do that. Fabi.ai can really accelerate that workflow for you. If this was helpful, definitely please follow. We do a lot more videos like this. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to drop them down below. And don't forget to like this video.